Okay. So yesterday we were discussing about pandas. So we have seen how to read the data from the files, but let us also see how we can write the data back to the files. Okay. So this file we have read similarly. We have done some transformations, selecting the columns, filtering, and then joining all of that we have done. I'll write a small data frame to file. Let us do that. Scroll to the end. Somewhere we have defined df1 and df2. I'm looking for the data. Okay, this is df1. Let's paste it here. And let us also take df2. And then join that with an inner join. Okay, this is fine. Okay, let us say we have two data frames. Let us execute this separately. Okay, we have two data frames. I want to join them and write the results to a file. Either it might be a CSV file, Excel file, or any other file. Print df1, comma df2. Sorry, I did not import pandas. Import pandas as PD. Okay, two data frames printed. Now I'm going to join them using the merge. Okay, this data I want to write to a CSV file. So how do we write to a file? Let's see. So till now, till here you know already. Okay. So df inner, whatever is the data frame, the name of that data frame followed by to CSV. Okay. This is the function used to write the data to a CSV file. You can provide the file name as employee department dot CSV. Okay, so if you do not provide any path, you are just providing the file name. So by default, it will be created in the place where this Python file is available. Okay, uh, let us run it and see. Yes, it is executed. Let's verify the file. So this is the folder where our file is created, employee department. See here, the first one is the index. By default, index would be created. And this is the data. So whatever is the data frame, if we want to write it to a file, if it is a CSV file, write dot to CSV. Let us also write to other type of files, df dot Excel. It might require some additional packages, but let's see. Department dot for the extension of that Excel file is XLSX. Okay, module not found. So this module is required to use the CSV files. So let's install that. Let us install it here. For that, we need to write pip install percentile pip install openpy excel. Okay, let's run it. OpenPy Excel module is required either to read the CSV file or to write the CS file. Sorry, not CSV, Excel file. Either to read the Excel or write the Excel. Okay, now it has created an Excel file. Let's see. Okay, let us look at here. Employee department file. See, this is a comma separated file. CSV is a comma separated file, and this is a Excel file.
How the path is detected directly?
Wherever our Python file is existing, in the same path, this file will be created.
Oh.
Otherwise, if you want to provide any external location, you can provide the full path.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this Excel file is created. Okay, so let us also write to the JSON file. Okay, this time let us provide the complete path so that it would be there for your reference. Copy as path. So use double slashes everywhere in the path. Okay, for the JSON file, the extension would be .json. JSON file is nothing but a dictionary. You already know the dictionary data type in Python, right? So JSON is nothing but a dictionary type. So for that we need to use two JSON. Is it running? Yes.
But then before March double slash, I mean, you are giving one single forward slash March 26th.
Okay. Let me stop it and rerun it. It should not take this much of time. Okay, let me stop it. Let's run this one more time. This behaves so weird. Let me open a Python file. It is taking so long. I'll restart it. While we restart, we need to run all of them. Okay, this is also executed now. Let's see. JSON file. See here, this is the JSON file. Let's open it and see what it is. See here, it is converted back to a dictionary. So if you see properly, employee IDs, these are all keys. This key represents the index. Everywhere the key is the index. Okay. For each of the objects, it is treating index as the key and value as the value. So it is converted to the JSON object now. So that's how you will convert to various formats. Even while reading the file also, you can use just like read CSV, you can read JSON, read Excel. Okay, let's read that quickly. Df equal to pandas dot read Excel of employee data, employee department dot xlsx. Sorry, this reading is done. Let's display. Okay. Again, we already have index on the file. Again, we are again while reading, it will create another index. Okay. So the index column, this is like unnamed because there is no name associated with this column. So that's why it is treated as unnamed column. And this is the index generated while reading that file. So while writing to the file, if you don't want to have index, if you do not want index, you can write index equal to false. Okay, let's open the file and see. Excel file. Okay, now you don't have indexes here. So depending on your requirement, I can either use the index or don't use the index. Even for reading the JSON file also, just write df equal to pd dot read JSON of that employee department dot JSON. Sorry, I did not display that. Okay, see, it has read properly. Now, in case of Excel file, you can provide the sheet names. Let's say, let me open that Excel file. This is the Excel file. Okay, let's say by default it is sheet 1. If you do not specify any sheet names, by default it would be sheet 1. Let's say I'll have one more sheet. I'll name with the same data, but I'm having one more sheet. Or let's change some data here. Employee 5. Marketing. That's okay, I'm saving this file. Now this file has multiple sheets. This Excel file has multiple sheets. So how do I know which sheet I have to read? So let us see. df equal to pandas dot read Excel of the file name employee department dot xlsx. If you do not specify any sheet, by default it will read sheet 1. Okay, by default it will read sheet 1. So by default it will read sheet 1. Or if you provide the sheet name here equal to, I think I have provided employee data, then it will consider that uh, file. Employee data is not defined. Let's see what it is. I don't remember. Yeah, this is employee underscore data. Correct. What's wrong here? EMP underscore data. Maybe do we need to provide like this? Permission error. We are not able to read the file because the file is in open mode. When the file is in open mode, it won't be able to do anything. Big reason because if the file is open, somebody might be editing it, and on top of that, we are trying to do something that is not possible. So that's why it's giving permission error. See here now the new entry is also read properly. This is how you read multiple sheets. So there are a lot of other options like skip header, skip footer. You can try all of them. So let's say I don't want to read the header. So for that we have skip rows. How many rows you want to skip from the top? Let's say I want to skip the first row. So it won't read header now. See here, header is not available. So there were various options. Maybe if you don't want to read the bottom row, skip footer equal to 1. You don't want to read the last row, then you can use that skip footer. And maybe you want to use columns, only few columns. You don't want to read all of them. Let's say only columns from uh, B and C. You want to read only columns B and C. Use calls. Inside the bracket, you can provide the calls as B and C. This is the Excel columns I'm referring to. Okay, use calls. It is not taking. Let's try this way. Invalid syntax. Okay, let's see the valid inputs for use calls. Use calls in pandas. Maybe we have to provide the exact column. There will be a lot of options. Okay, we have to provide the column names. There will be a lot of options depending on your requirement. You have to choose that. You have to try and explore. Let me open this sheet. Okay, let's say I want to read only name and department. Use calls. Names, comma, department. Again, the file is in open mode. Let's close that. Okay. Now it is giving value error. What is this? Use columns do not match columns expected but not found. Is it? It is saying the columns are not found. Names and department. Yes, it is there, right? Let's open the file and see. Names and department. Are there any spaces in the names? No. Error when read on empty column from the Excel file. Use columns do not match columns. Columns expected but not found. Let's provide numbers and see. Oh my God. Okay, you have to provide the column numbers. So let's say I want to read 2, 3, and 4. The column numbers 2, 3, and 4. Why is it saying permission denied? Sorry, parse error. Maybe we do not have fourth index. Okay, so this is how it works. So with this, pandas is completed. If you want, you can explore more options. There are a lot of options while reading the files or writing the files. You can try and explore that. But I have just given you an idea. Or I have told you all the things whichever are extensively used in our real time. Okay. So now let's move on to OOPS concepts. These are not really important for data engineering, but we are expected to know what is OOPS and how does that work. Not only in Python, in every language, we have the reusable code, how to write them. One way of writing that is using the functions. We have already discussed functions thoroughly. So using the functions, we can write reusable code. but why we need oops? Okay, so let's say we have some bigger project which requires lot of functions. Okay, so maybe with a single function we might not be able to achieve. So we might need multiple functions together as a single unit. So there will be multiple functions together, make it a project or make it a single unit, and we can reuse that uh, in multiple places. So that is a concept of oops. To make you understand in a simple language, let's say you want to construct a building in one of the places. Okay, so for that, what you will do, you will go to an architect and you will tell him the requirements. I have this much amount of land. I want some floors, 10 floors of building with two flats in each of the floors, let's say, and one should be 2 BHK, another flat should be 3 BHK. You have some requirements in your mind, and you will tell the architect. Based on that, he will design the plan and give it to you. That plan you can implement it anywhere, right? So let's say you have a place in Hyderabad, you have designed that. I mean, the architect has designed that, and you are implementing it. You are constructing the building with the labor and all of that. So now tomorrow you have the same kind of land in other place, maybe in your hometown. You also do the same thing over there. So again, you will not go to architect and ask the requirements, right? If you want to have the same kind of model, you will not again go to the architect. Let's say your place might be somewhat more or less, you will make the adjustments. So maybe in Hyderabad, mm, you have special requirements like you need a workstation or you need some drawing room for children, all of that. You have some extra requirements, but in your hometown, only your parents will stay. Let's assume that. So they don't need a workstation. Okay, they don't need a workstation or they don't need a drawing room or study room like that, right? There might be some little adjustments required. So those adjustments you will be able to make by using the same blueprint. Okay, so by you can construct the same thing, but with little modifications, you can build it anywhere using the same blueprint. So the same is the case with the OOPS concepts. You can write the functionality once with slight modifications here and there. You will be able to you reuse that multiple times. Okay, so one second. Sorry. You can reuse that multiple times. OOPS means object oriented programming. Object object oriented programming. Okay, so everything in Python is considered as an object. This is an object, a function is an object, or a variable is an object. Everything in Python is considered as an object, and that can be reused. So let us see. So how we define classes? Let's say group of functions bundled together to make a big project, let's say, or to make a big project, or consider that as an unit. Or let's say how the OOPs are defined. So OOPs are defined with a keyword called class. So let's say I'll define a class for a student. So the name of my class is student. So in this student class, I'm expecting all the details of the student. Maybe his personal details, his college details, his education details, or any other details, whatever is related to him, his marks, whatever is there. With this student class, I want to know all the information. Okay, I want to know all the information of the student. So it might be segregated into different categories. Maybe his personal information is different from his career, or his educational information is different. So for that, we will maintain the different methods in this. Okay, this is the class of the student. I'll go step by step. Slowly, you will get to habituate to this, At first, it might seem little confusing or little complicated, but please try to understand. Okay, so this class I'll try to write. So what this class is about. Okay, even in the real times also for every function or every class, they will write a documentation, how to use that, or what is the functionality of that. Okay, so here I'll simply write, it will help us to get the student details, personal and professional. Let's say this is what this function does. Okay, so this is called documentation string, or simply call it as doc string, which means this is for the documentation purpose. Okay, now this is a simple class. I just defined a document string. I did not do anything else. But similar to functions, whenever a class is created, it should be called. Otherwise, it will not be executed. Now let's create a object reference for the class. So which means I will create a reference of student. If you print this S, there will be nothing inside that. Okay, some object at some address. So if you want to get this doc string, documentation string, so for that there is a method called s dot underscore underscore. S is nothing but the object reference. Underscore underscore dict. Dict method. Dict is like a dictionary. It will give the dictionary with the information of the student class. So here you do not have anything still. Okay, good. Now let's see. Try with the student. Student dot dict method. Here now it is printing something. When I'm creating an object reference, so you will slowly understand what's the object reference, what is a class reference. Object reference means we are calling a class and storing it into a variable. This variable is called the object reference. And when we are directly calling the class, that is called a class reference. So there were some differences between an object and a class references, which works on what we'll slowly see. But here, the documentation string, it works on the class reference, not on the object reference. So let's see. So there will be some default modules. Okay, module main, first line number, all of that. There will be some default things. So here now our focus is on this one, this documentation. So here it will help us to get the student details, personal and professional. This is what we are expecting. So this will give us the uh, doc string or the documentation. Or let's say if you want to get it through the S itself. So let's try this way now. See here, with the object reference, if you want to get it, use the doc method. Or else, if you want to see all the attributes of a class, use this dict method. Okay, all attributes of a class. This is just the documentation part. Doc string of a class. Okay, so this is the very basic. We did not do anything yet. Okay, so let's copy this. We'll try to keep on extending the functionality for this. Okay, so let's say I need some details here. So every class requires a init method. Init method is like a default construct. Let's say init. First, I'll write it and tell you what is init method. So this init method should definitely accept a parameter called self. Self means it references to itself. Okay, self. So and any other variables you need here that will be defined here. So maybe the student ID, student name, age, student age, and let's make it underscore. Okay, so for the student, I need student ID, name, age, Okay, let's say only these are the details I need to know. This is called init method where we are initializing the variables. Okay, init method to initialize the variables. Okay, so let's see how we define them. So here, uh, in order to say that this ID, name, and age belongs to this student class, we should define them here. This is how the Python works. It might seem little complicated now. So self dot ID, student ID equal to student ID. So while we are calling this function and passing values to this, at that time it will be able to understand all these things. Self dot name equal to name. So whatever variables you are defining in this init method, you definitely have to do this, otherwise it doesn't work. Self dot age equal to age. Okay. So right, I just have defined, I did not do anything. Okay. These are just, I have initialized the variables, I did not do anything yet. So let's have a method which will display all these details. Okay. So I'll write a method, therefore student info. Okay. So whatever you are writing the method, these are called the methods. Okay. This is the init method to initiate the variables. And this is the method student information method. Sorry, student info information method. Let's say student basic info. Okay. So which should use these values. Okay. So self. We should write the word self in order to use these variables. Okay. Let's say I just want to print the details here. Print. So let's say student name, student ID is. So where is ID? Self dot student ID. Similarly, the other details. Okay, student name is student name. Student age is age. Okay, done. Now only these three details I want to display. Now the class definition is completed. Let's say this class only displays the student basic information. We'll keep on adding, don't worry. I'm just going step by step. So if you create this, if you call this, if you execute this now, nothing will happen. It will just execute the student class. No output will be displayed because only whenever a class is called, then only it will display the output. So let us run this. Nothing will happen. Yes. So now create a object reference as equal to student of. This time we need to pass the inputs. Let's say this is student one. Okay, the student one. I'll take the details from the participants. Okay, so let's say the student first is student ID 1 and the name is Dikshita and age, let's say 23. So I'll maintain 4 or 5 students details here. So 2. So first of all, let's see with the 1. Okay, so first let us try to understand 1 and see. Student 1 is this, and on this method, okay, on this object reference, let's try to apply all the methods. Let's say s1 dot underscore underscore dict. Okay, and print s1. First let us see this. I'll apply later. Okay, On this S1, on the object reference, if you are trying to apply the dictionary method, it is giving the init method variables, right? See here, it is also giving the details. Student ID is 1, name is Dikshita, and age is 23. Alright. So whatever you have defined in the init class, those will be the attributes referenced with student reference. Variables declared in init method will be the attributes of class object reference. Okay, so these are the class object reference. So if you do a dict method on the class itself, student dot class, sorry, not class, student dot dict, spelling mistake. Okay, if you see here, okay, module main first line, or ignore all of this. Look at this documentation string we have already seen. So there is a init method at some address, and it has a function called student basic info, and it has the attributes like age, name, and ID. So yeah, this is just giving the placeholders of the class. Okay, what are all the attributes available for this dictionary? It is giving it, and the object reference is exactly giving the values. Okay, on this S1, now you can apply all these methods. S1 dot module main, all of this is not required. Those are some built-in things. So S1 dot student info. On this student class object reference, I want to display this method. I want to apply this method. Let's run it. See here, student ID is 1, name is Dikshita, age is 23. Right. So it is working fine. Also, maybe outside the class using the object reference, S1, you don't know what is S1. It is like you are constructing a building in Hyderabad with the given plan. Okay. You are trying to get the attributes which belongs to Hyderabad. Okay. So let's say S1 dot, what are the attributes of this now? On the S1, what will you be able to get? All these objects you will be able to get on the S1. So let's say print S1 dot student ID. Maybe you want to know the ID of this person. See, student ID is 1. S1 dot outside the class. We are referencing this outside the class using the object reference. S dot student age. S1. Okay, so you are able to access the object uh, references. Okay, variables using the object references, and you're able to apply the method. Let's say I'll create student 2 equal to student of ID number 2. Let's take the names from here. ID number 2 Manikanta. So let's say age is 22, and apply all these methods. S2 dot dict. Okay, the student detector remains the same. There won't be any difference on the S2. Let's apply these methods. S2. You are just building the same. You are doing the same construction in another place. Okay, so here also the same student class. I'm using it for another student. This student class applies to all the students. Okay, now with the second method, student, these are the dict method output, the first line, and these are the details. This is with the method. Okay, till here it is with the method. I have applied a basic info method, that is it, and here I am referencing the object variables. Okay, like this you can create any number of student objects and then call it. Okay, so good. Now let's copy all of this. I'm trying to extend the functionality. Now, uh, whatever is the students, whatever are the students, whoever are the students, they will have something in common, right? So why are we grouping that together? Because they belong to some common category. They belong to some common category. What is that common between them? Let's say they all belong to a same college, or they all belong to the same city. Students in a college, or students in a city, or students in a state or country. Okay, let's say here my assumption is the common thing between them is all of them belongs to the same college. Let's say college. So they all belongs to JNTU. Let's say JNTUH. They all belongs to they are all the students of JNTU Hyderabad. Let's assume. So now I'll apply all of this. Let's see what happens. So here look at the class attributes, doc, init, a student method, and the static attributes are age, name, and ID. Right? So no other attributes. Now look at this method. I'll execute it. Okay, execution done. So these are the S1 attributes and these are the class attributes. See here inside the class attributes, now you have got the college. Okay, inside the class attributes, you have got the college. So now let us say I also want to display college information. Okay. Uh, okay, therefore display college of self. Okay, here I'm slowly going into the tricky things. Okay, so here let's say print which student self dot student name is studying in, let the self dot college. Yes, self dot college works, but there is tricky, I will tell you. So I'll remove this S2. So let's go with only S1 and also comment this class reference. So remove this. Okay, so student name is this, age, and all of that. Now this display college, it is not displayed. Some student is studying in some college, it is not displaying because we did not apply that method. Let's apply that method s1 dot s1 dot what is this, display college. Okay, so run this. Now Dikshita is studying in JNTUH. Let's say JNTUH college. Okay, now Dikshita is studying in this college, right? So, but here the college information is not being displayed. Why? Because that is not the init method variable. That is not the init method variable. That's the class level variable. Okay, that's not the init method. It's a class level. So now also print the class reference attributes. Print student dot dict method. Let's see here closely. Leave about these first three. Look at this college is JNTUH. So this college is coming here, but the student ID, name, and age are not coming here because whatever is class level, they will come here because this is common. We have defined it outside all the methods, which means this is common and can be used across all the methods. Even the self variables. init method variables can be used, but those values keeps changing from student to student. For student 1, it would be this one. For student 2, the name would be different or all the details would be different. But the college remains same for all of the details. So that's why it is a class level variable. So class level variables will be displayed in the class attributes. So this is class level. So this is one of the method, and display college is another method. Okay, so these are the static attributes, which means they are the attributes of the init method, sorry. Okay, right. So now let's try to access this college information outside the class. Okay, print, let's say s1 dot college. Did it get, will it work or not? Let's see. It will work definitely. Okay, jntuh. The same thing you can access using the class reference. Student dot college. Sorry, spelling mistake. Student dot college. Okay, it is also working. Then what's the difference? I'll tell you. So everything is working now. Let's say I'll copy all of this again. Okay, so let's say here also I'm providing college. Okay, here also I'm providing college, and self dot college equal to college. Okay, so let's observe carefully now. While passing the student object, it requires another parameter, otherwise it will throw error. See here, it is giving error, missing one positional argument, college. For college, we did not provide the value. Let us say the college for this person is, let's say these students belongs to different colleges in a city. Maybe within Hyderabad, they might belong to different college, OU, let's say Usmania University. Okay, so now run this and see what happens. Okay, the student attributes are here. Now if you observe, college is also coming because college is defined in the init method. So college is also there, but the value is OU because the student belongs to OU, right? That is good. Student ID is one, name, age, these are all good. But if you see here, student is studying in college OU. So it is showing only OU, but where is this college going? Where is this? Why is it not getting printed? Earlier we are getting everywhere the JNTU. Okay. But now we are not getting the JNTU, we are getting OU. Why? Because that's a we have the same variable both at the init method and also the class variable. So this is called class level variable or class variable shortly. These are called, sorry, I forgot the name. So init method, they are called instance variables. Sorry, I got it. Instance variables. The variables declared in init method are called instance variables. And the methods using the instance variables are called methods using instance variables are called instance methods. Okay, so we'll slowly deep dive into that. Initialize. Okay, so whatever variables you are defining it here, those are called instance variables, and the methods using those variables are called instance methods. Now slowly I'll switch it. So let's see here. Now the JNTU is nowhere being considered, though it is showing in the class variables. It is not displayed anywhere. Even while trying to print s1 dot college, it is giving OU. But while you are trying to access with the student dot college, then it is giving JNTUH. Now you might have got some idea, like if we have same variable at the class level and at the instance level, then Using the self reference, the instance variable will be retrieved. Okay, so by using the class variable, by using the class name, if you want to retrieve the class level variable, use the class name. Okay, so this makes the difference. So this variable, whichever we have declared outside the class, it is always better to use class name reference instead of self dot. Self dot will work only as long as there is no such variable in the instance method. Okay, once we introduce the same variable in the instance method, while we are using the college with the self reference, it will refer to the instance variable, not to the class variable. So now what I want is, irrespective of whether I have that variable inside the init method or not, I definitely want to access the variable outside the class. How is that possible? Let's see. Copy this. Please let me know if you are having any questions or doubts, or if it is confusing. Okay, so now let's say I'll display the college details. Display.
Oops concept little bit confusing, Prabha.
Yeah, it will be little tricky, but it comes with practice. You
Okay.
have to try a lot of examples to get clarity.
Mm.
Yeah. But don't worry, these will not be extensively used in the data engineering. Maybe there might be some already existing classes. You just have to understand what they are doing. Or maybe very rarely, even in the interviews also, they might not ask. Very rarely, I have seen people asking about the OOPS concepts for the data engineering roles. Okay. But still, you should be aware of all these concepts. Okay, right. So now I want to display the college defined at this level. So let's say I'll make it as display universal college. Okay, let's say universal college. So that should use the class variable, not the self. So we should not pass self here. Instead, there is a variable called CLS. In order to use this CLS, we should define some decorator on top of this function at the rate class method, because it should use class variable. The methods using class variables are called class methods. Methods using the class variables are called class methods. In order to make it understand, to pick the class variables, you have to define a decorator at the rate class method, and you have to use the variable CLS. Then let's see here, I will not be able to display the student name. The student name is specific to, it is possible we can define, but let's not confuse. Okay, let's say all the students belongs to the college. Here instead of self dot, we have to write cls dot college. Okay, so now done. So the methods which are using class variables are called the class methods. But if it is using the combination of class and the instance, then it will be called as an instance method. Okay, I'll repeat. So the methods which are using only class variables are called class methods. So this will be a class method because it is not using any instance variable. It is using only class method. Methods which are using only class variables are called class methods. Okay, I'll show you the combination as well. First, focus on this. Okay, now let's say we have the college variable at the instance level and also at the class level. So let us run this. Here we have the student basic info, student mm, display college, and universal college as well. Display universal college. Okay, now let us run it. Okay, so still here it is OU because this object reference will always give, sorry, where it is? Yeah, this object reference will always give the object level related attributes because this Dekshita, this person belongs to OU college. Yes, I'm referencing that object reference. That's why it is giving OU, right? Now, immediately I'm displaying basic info. Basic information is ID, name, and age. This is basic info. Now, after that, I'm displaying the uh, display college method, which is using instance variables. Okay, Dekshita is studying in OU college. So this might seem a little irrelevant. She is studying in OU college, and I'm telling all the students belongs to JNU. This is just to explain you technically, not the real functionality. Okay, so now on the universal display college, here my intention is to show you how you are using this college, how you are distinguishing or how you are differentiating between the college variable defined outside the init method and inside the init method at the class level, at the instance level. How are we differentiating it? So let's say now the display universal college, all the students belongs to the college JNTUH. Now here it is taking the class variable, right? So in order to pick the class variables, you should definitely use this class method. Or yeah, we'll get to that. So now it is displaying the universal college correctly. And when you are using the object references, it is giving the object reference details. See here, these are the ID, name, and age. And when you are displaying s1 dot college, it is OU, and student dot college, it is JNDUH, as expected. Very good, right? So now here the college is always JNDUH. It is at a class level. Student basic information, display college, and display universal college. See here, this is calling as a class method. This is a method. Display universal college is a method which is a class method. And display college, this is just a function. Okay, function, which means these are called the instance methods. Okay, so the methods using the instance variables are called instance methods, and the methods using only the class variables are called class methods. Now let's try to use a mix of both. So these are all the basic concepts required to understand the core concepts of OOPS. Okay, the core concepts are still we did not start yet. I'm just telling you the basics. They are like inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation, all of that. Okay, so these are all the fundamentals to understand those concepts. Okay, so right now I want to mix both of this. I'll use a method which will display, let's say I'll also have a city. Okay, now city equal to all the students, let's say they belong to a city called Hyderabad. We have two class variables now. Okay, they might belongs to, I mean, by default the all the students belongs to JNTU, or maybe instead of OU I'll say some college. uh, let's say CBIT. Okay, so it is affiliated to OU. Don't worry about affiliation and all of that. It is some college, and by default, let's say if we don't know the college, that student belongs to JNTU. We can assume that. Uh, now let's define some method. Def of display college city. Okay, I want to display both the college and city. Now this time, college I want to take from the init method and city from the outside, or maybe I want both the details. Let's say I'll use the word self here. I want to use both class variables and also the self variables. Let's say print I don't, I have to tell the student name. Self dot student name. Dekshita is studying in college. Which college you want to say? Let's say the college in the self reference. Okay, self dot college belongs to or living in the city. Sorry, studying in a college in the city. Here the city name should be passed from here. Now I did not pass a class method. I did not have the CLS variable. Then how do I reference it here? By directly referencing the class name. Student dot city. Okay, Dekshita is studying in college, CBIT in the city, Hyderabad. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Now I'm using a combination of uh, self-object reference and also the class variables. Whenever you are using the mix of class variables and the instance variables, by default the preference will be given to the instance variables. If at least one of the variable is if at least one of the variable is instance variable, then the method becomes instance method. Okay, this is an instance method now. Only whenever we are defining at the rate class method and using only the class variables, that becomes a class variable. Otherwise, it becomes the instance variable, though we are using the class variables here. Let's run it. Okay, this is executed. Let's see what happened. These are the student details and student ID, name, age, good. This method is done. Now, in the display, college display, this is a self method which will be taken from the CBIT. Okay, Dekshita is studying in CBIT college, right? Now, the universal college, it should take the college from the class level. Okay, all the students belongs to the college JNUH. Here JNUH is treated. Now it is S1 attributes. Again, the S1 attributes would be this the student details of S1. And if you see here the student dictionary, here you have the attributes as college and city along with the values. And we have the methods like basic info, student display, sorry, display college, display universal college. Only this is a class method if you observe. And again, display college city, though it is using the class variable, it is still a normal method, which means an instance method. Right. So now let's see how do you access it. I mean, you know already how to access this outside. Now the city information is not available um, inside the init variable. So if you refer s dot city, you will get it. But if the same variable is available inside the init method, then you definitely have to refer class name dot city. Okay, so my recommendation is that if you are trying to access class variables, always try to use the class name. Okay, for referencing class variables, always use class name reference, even though we don't have that variable in init method. So today we might not have it. Maybe tomorrow somebody adds that variable to the init method. So then your code breaks or your code doesn't work as expected. So it is always better to use uh, the class references. Okay. So the same thing, the same methods you can apply on the student tool. Let's say the student tool. Student to S2. I'll define S2 equal to 1 second. Okay. S2, in between S1 and S2, I'll have some break. Not a break, just the differentiation. Okay. S2, name, name, ID to age 22. Let's say belongs to Vignan. Okay. So, to S2 dot, everywhere S2. The same method, same thing, now working for the another student. Okay, now run it. Okay, so these are the second student details. Student ID is 2, name Manikanta, age 22, studying in Vignan College. All the students belongs to JNUH. These are his details. So, and these are the object references. Okay, so the same can work for multiple students. Okay, this is what the basic core functionality of OOPS. We can use it same functionality everywhere for anybody. Okay, now let's see the same function. I'll take it only with S1. Let's copy it. Okay, till here no confusions. Okay, everything is working as expected. So you know how to access. Now we have passed the parameters to this. So in order to get the name, ID, or whatever details here, you know how to get it by just using s dot the attribute name. Okay, s dot attribute name, you will get it. So, but if you want to update them, if you want to update the student age, let's say an year has passed, now the student age is increased. I want to update the student age as age equal to, let's say, 24. Now print this s1 dot age. Okay, see, let's see what happened. Sorry, s age, student age. Now student age is 24, right? So if you display some methods here, let's say I want to display the student basic info after updating. See here, now the student age is 24. So this is update instance variables. Okay, this is only for the student when I'm updating the age. So maybe now you want to update the city. Okay, the class variable, you want to update the city. How do you update? For accessing, you can access it with the object reference if the same variable is not inside the instance method, or else you can access it with the class method. But what I recommended, always use the class name reference in order to use the class variables. Student dot city. So let's say I want to make the city equal to Bangalore now. And now on this student one, let's say universal method. See here. Sorry, I have not the universal method. What's the other method I have? I think I did not apply this method anywhere. Okay, so see here now in the city of Bangalore, it is updated. The student city variable is updated. Okay, so that's how either you access the variables outside the class using the object reference or the class variables using the class reference. Okay, you can either update, or if you want to delete, let's say I want to delete the college variable from the college class variable. Okay, I want to delete it. For deleting, you should use the keyword del, which means it will delete. Sorry, there is a spelling mistake. Okay, now that is removed. Now if you try to print that college, student dot college, it gives error. Student dot college, it gives error because you have deleted that. Okay, it is deleted. So delete class variable. Okay, so if you want to update, this is the update class variable. Okay, even inside the class also you can update using the same methods. Okay, so that's all about the basic core concepts of hoops. Tomorrow we'll deep dive into the core concepts like inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism, and all of that. Okay, so right, I'll stop it here. I'll share the file in the chat window. Please download the file and let me know if you have any doubts. Srinivas, are you able to access the file?
Yeah, 1 second, I'm checking. I'm able to today.
Okay.